Can Microsoft founder Bill Gates control the weather?
When you hear the name Bill Gates, you probably think Microsoft founder. But now the billionaire may be known as the hurricane tamer. Gates is listed as one of 13 inventors on a patent filed for hurricane prevention methods.
So while the idea of controlling the weather might sound like science fiction, because billionaire Bill Gates is involved, it's a Category 5 idea that some can only hope comes true.
Now comes Bill Gates. Like the comic book character, the Weather Wizard, Gates and a team of scientists have an ingenious plan.
Bill Gates is among a dozen individual donors and 14 foundations backing the first stratospheric solar geoengineering experiment out of Harvard. It's called Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment.
There is a line of research on what's called geoengineering, which are various techniques that would delay the heating to buy us 20 or 30 years to get our act together.
Why does Bill Gates and his foundation want to control the world's weather? On December 5, 2018, Forbes published an article titled "Harvard Scientists Begin Experiments to Block Out the Sun," where author Trevor Nace explains that, quote, "A group of Harvard scientists plans to tackle climate change through geoengineering by blocking out the sun." With funding in part by Bill Gates and his foundation, the project is designed to spray tiny particles into the stratosphere that block out the sun, reflecting its light back into space. In addition, on July 25, 2019, the Council on Foreign Relations published an article titled "The World May Need Geoengineering, and Geoengineering Needs Governance," where the globalist think tank stated, quote, "Injecting particulate matter into the lower stratosphere could help cool the planet by reflecting sunlight into space. Such measures are not panaceas, and a deluge of ethical and practical questions cries out for governance." This same sentiment is repeated at the end of the piece, claiming, quote, "Failing to study and develop geoengineering techniques would be irresponsible. Failing to govern them properly would be even more so." On September 20th, 2017, Bill Gates asked former President Obama about the need for global government to help bring his foundation's vision to life, concerning both global health pandemics and his sun-blocking weather modification.
Over the next 10 or 20 years, do you think these global institutions, in terms of reform or creating new ones, for pandemics and climate change, can they step up to play the role we need them to play?
During a May 8th interview on NBC's Today Show, Melinda Gates can be clearly seen wearing a necklace that has a strange symbol hanging from it. The necklace's charm is an upside-down Christian-looking cross, backed and surrounded by red ruby stones in a ring. Some claim an upside-down cross pays tribute to the Apostle Peter, saying with certainty that he was crucified upside down, unlike Christ. However, there is no verse in the New Testament that verifies this claim. In its most basic essence, the upside-down cross is symbolic of the inversion of everything Christ stood and died for, meaning an anti-Judeo-Christian theology that purports Jesus to be an evil entity, while Satan is the true Son of God, according to the inversion. Although Satanists and Luciferians refuse to lay claim to this symbol, esoteric circles within these groups know it to be true, and even the basic principles of symbology and the meaning of symbols would suggest that yes, an upside-down symbol represents an inversion of what the original symbol stood for right side up. The ruby has historically been associated with the sun, and is said to conquer darkness. Some ancient cultures believed that rubies, as well as other gemstones, grew on trees, just like fruit. The rubies would begin budding as small white gems, and would slowly grow and ripen, turning red in the light of the sun. When the ruby was saturated with red color, it was ready to be plucked. So a ring of rubies represents a complete sun, and the pairing of the ruby sun with an upside-down cross would symbolically mean the inversion of Christian values, as well as the inversion of the sun's purpose to give light to the world, similar to how Christ is described as the light of the world in the New Testament. In other words, her symbol conveys the darkening of the light-giving sun, or sun death. So in conclusion, it seems the meaning of the symbol on Melinda's necklace charm is synonymous with the Gates Foundation's plan to prevent sunlight from reaching the Earth. Again, how could the Gates Foundation find blocking out the sun to be a good idea without fully understanding the unintended consequences of adding sulfur and other chemicals to the atmosphere? And why is Melinda Gates signaling her and her husband's plan to the world on NBC's Today Show? Perhaps they got their idea to brazenly broadcast their sun death intentions to the world from the fictional Simpsons character, Montgomery Burns.
Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Good God.
This is Brian Wilson with Infowars.com.